Hello and welcome to my small video. I'm just going to sort of show a video of my Meddings pillar drill, so 1958 that was recently purchased, and needs a little bit of TLC, but the main thing was, of course, I had to do a little bit of rewiring on the motor using an old flex, but that's now working fine. But then finding out that I've actually got a bent shaft, of course, where this pillar basically drive shaft comes from the belt driven and over to here, which causes the drive. And what happened was the shaft that goes onto here, that shaft is bent, and of course I've got it on the workbench now, and here's the shaft. And previously it looks like somebody's actually tried to do a welding repair on it, and if I actually turn it round you can clearly see that shaft is not square, and also has quite a bit of damage on there as I rotate it. And then if we look down at the pulley wheel itself, we can see that in the centre there is someone has put a sleeve there to reduce the overall size, which of course is not an original sleeve. So basically what I'm going to be doing is to be straightening this shaft, okay, and then what I'm going to be doing then is, so I'll be pulling the gears off, and to do that I have to remove a little bit of these welds just here. As I rotate that round you'll see that that weld is stopping that fluted shaft, so I'll just remove some of the welds there off the side of the flutes, and that will then allow me then to slide these gears straight off the top. The bottom bearing is in perfect condition, I have no problem with that. The top bearing is worn, although I believe it's actually okay once I actually do increase the size of this. So what I'll be doing to increase the size of this, I'll be running weld beads down the shaft all the way around, and then I'll mount it in the lathe then, and obviously bring that back down to its correct size, and obviously putting the keyway back in the side here, which is where the grub screw sits. So let me get set up, and I'll grind this up and pull these wheels off. We'll have a closer look at this shaft then once I remove all these drives off. Back in a moment. Okay, right, we're back now, and so what I've had to do is basically, as we can see, what's happened is this is a piece that's been welded on by somebody else, and it's actually been welded on off centre, and if I just turn it round you might just be able to see that it's just basically out of line. So what I've had to do is put it into the lathe and then turn this down, which is took about 3/4 of the way off basically, and then also then I've got to just reface the end and take off the you can see there's a pilot hole there basically for putting the centre in, and I've had to basically take it down so that pilot was missing, and that pilot was about 2/3 over on the top, so I've removed about sort of 1/8 of an inch to take it down, and I've drilled a new pilot now which is now central to the pilot on the back here where the bearing is. So the next job now is to actually, with the MIG, is to run beads of weld up onto here to basically get this up to approximately 15mm in diameter. And then basically what that will do then is when I then mount it back into the lathe, I'll mount it with a live centre, a fixed centre on this side down here which is going to be turning in the lathe, and then obviously I shall mount when the tape comes off, I'll mount a lathe dog, okay, on here, and then this will spin, and that will allow me then to remove this material. So I shall get set up with the MIG, and unfortunately at this moment in time I can't actually video the welding, as I don't yet have a lens yet to put over this camera, and it'll just blind the camera so you won't really see much. So I'll run the weld on there, and I'll give you a little shot after I've run the weld, and then of course we'll get it set up in the lathe and we'll turn it down to the right size. So I'll come back to you. Okay, so the shaft's been re-welded and put in the mill and turned down, and as you can see this is the part that I've done there. If I just lift it up I'll show you that. So basically, I'll hold that out now, you can see that's now nice and straight. Oh, that does, I'll turn it straightly. Looks a bit bent actually on this camera, because obviously this camera's got a very wide angle lens. But that's the shaft done. Of course I've pulled the bearing off the bottom, and of course took the gears off so I can mount it in the lathe. And then also what I've done is I've reduced this, obviously I've had to put it back in because obviously the size of the bearing on the top here, basically it's 12.5mm, so I've had to reduce it down, which is that's 15.5, so I've had to put a new sleeve in and turn it to 12.5, so I actually have 12.5 now, so that's a now nice tight fit, as you can see. So you know, that's it kind of in the top, you really got to sort of push it to get it on, so I'll press that on, and that will then resolve the problem of obviously the that pulley wobbling backwards and forwards. So that'll be the job, and as I say, I'm just waiting for a new bearing for the bottom of the main gearbox, which is split. I'll mount it back together, and then we'll do a little video then of actually running with obviously this now running nice and true. So I'll come back to you once I get these parts ordered. And of course something else that was missing as well, of course, was clamped here. There's a small ball bearing just there and a spring, and what that does, that actually rides up and down on here. You can see there's basically small little holes, 3 of them, and there's also a hole on the shaft. And of course what that was doing is basically the spring goes in the middle with the 2 ball bearings either side, and they then catch into them holes. What that's for, on the side of the machine there's a lever, and that lever allows you then to change the gears. So it actually moves this gear up and down to enable this gear for low range or this gear for high range. And of course that was actually jammed, the lever wouldn't move, and the reason for that being was the fact that one of those springs was missing, and what happened is it allowed, as you can see here, it allowed the spring to actually be scratching on this surface, and you can see there's a scratch line. I'll get up to the light, but you see it a bit better. See that scratch line? So it was not enabling the gear to move up and down. So as I say, it's obviously that was done when the person took the shaft out and welded this on, and it was not welded on straight, and that was really why it was really wobbling, and it was undersized. So of course I've re-welded it back up again, and of course then turned it back down to obviously make a nice straight shaft now. So as I say, it's been a couple of hours project, this has, but as I say, I'll come back as and when I've got the bearing, and we'll put it all back together, and this should say, well, I take this plastic off, because I've covered it with plastic off since I've been grinding. I don't want the grinding dust to get in, but if I take the plastic off, we can see this is the motor, which is the original motor, which actually works perfect. And of course this is the lever that I was talking about on the side. Okay, and what that lever does inside, we can see, if we just tilt it over, we can see it operates a arm, and that arm has got a couple of fingers on the side of it, and that's what lifts this gear up and down, and that's what basically enables it to drive. And of course what that's actually doing is that actually comes over, I'll pop this over out the way, but I'll just bring this out so you can see that what you've got here is actually put this out, put it on the desk, and we'll see it a bit clearer then. It's quite heavy, it's cast. But basically what we've got is this is where that shaft comes through. So that's how it passes through that bearing, and then of course this is the 2 gears between the low and the high range, and then if we look on the bottom here, we can see that the bearing case is split. So you can see the bell bearings have actually started to move around on side. You can see there's a big gap there, and then they're all bunched up, and that's the 6205, which of course I've got one of those on order, and that will be coming in a couple of days. So as I say, really not bad damage, really, considering the machine is 1958. So it's in generally pretty good condition. Forward and reverse works. The motor runs very well indeed. I've re-greased the bearings top and bottom. As I say, all works fine. I've got to get a new return for the quill, because obviously at the moment the quill just falls out. So I spoke to Meddings about that. They're £30 plus VAT, and so I think it's about £8 delivery to get me one to me. So I'm going to do that, but I just thought I'd hold off, because I do need to get a couple of Imperial bolts for the top as well. So I thought, well, when I get that, I'll get a few more bolts for here, because a few of them are missing. I do have a few of them there in a little tray on the side. So there we go. As I say, got a little repair. This is the top cap, which is aluminium, which is broke. So that's got to have a little repair done to it. I've got to basically fill back that side in to give that 3rd hole. That's a key part. This is actually what caps off the bearing on the top, and of course then this is the plate then, which is where that shaft passes through, which is actually fine conditions, actually no problem with that at all. So so there we go. So that's really the job so far, and I'll come back to you as and when I've got it all back, and we'll do a little test on it. The Meddings Pacera drill is back together again now. Of course the main problem was, of course, was a bearing that was shattered, so that was a 6205 which has been replaced. And of course there was a lot of wear obviously on the shaft, so it's been welded up, and obviously it's been put in the lathe and turned down, and now there's actually no plan there at all. If we put it into run now, we'll hear it's actually a lot quieter than what it was. So here we go. see there's no play there now, so a little ringing from the aluminium, but that's absolutely fine, as I say, before it was actually completely unusable. But, so that's a good repair done, and I've just got to make a new bracket now for this quill return spring. So it's a new spring, it's £30 from Meddings, so I've just got to basically make a cover which has got turn with some knurls on it. That then actually goes into this little keyway just here, and that's then what you turn. This is like a relief screw which allows you then just to set the tension, how quickly you want the return to go. So, and also I'm going to be making a little bracket for here as well to indicate for low and high speed. So a little plate there, sort of little turning on the corners and what have you now. So a few little things to do, but all in all it's looking very good indeed. So we'll come back when we're doing a few more modifications to it. Finally fitted, been very busy, so I've had time to finish off, but this is now all fully working now. So basically I've had to make a cup here, which of course has got the spring loaded inside, and of course this is the little catch there which catches that. Of course a couple of little pins on there which of course allows them to rotate it round, and that's of course for the quill return. So that basically gives you a spring quill, and then also as well of course just for the high-low as well there, just a plate there just to cover over the high-low switch there, which lifts a gear up and down inside. So let's have a listen to what it sounds like. Of course new pins of course, and wing nuts there to hold the lid back on. So as I say, it's running 415, and of course it's running on a Mitsubishi inverter. Okay, that's a 2 kilowatt. Doesn't need to be that big of course, because this is only a 550 watt motor, but of course 3-phase it is powerful. And of course then we can put that into reverse as well. So there we go, that's the complete rebuild